Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talks about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Well, hello, welcome back. Yeah, today's going to be fun. We are going to have a fun, very spicy show today. I'm good. Hold on, Casey. They can't hear you yet. So, yeah. No, I can hear you. I can hear you. They can't hear you. We have Casey joining us, and before I bring him on, and we're going to talk about all sorts of stuff. And frankly, his latest episode, I have a cut from it. We're going to talk about it. But I'm going to tell you that he's like my spirit animal. I don't watch a lot of podcasts, but I watch his. His and Kyle Seraphin, the two that I watch. And I think he'd probably agree Kyle and him are spirit animals. We're all spirit animals together. Matter of fact, when things hit the fan, I want to be in the foxhole with them. And I hope we don't have to be, but I think it's probably headed that direction. But before we get started with Casey, I want to bring something up. Every day we're confronted with more stupid. And it's not even a fun stupid. It's like a stupid. Just imagine being as dumb as you possibly could be, and then just put those words into the mouth of a politician. Well, Hickenlooper started out this morning, and he said, "We live in the wealthiest country in the world, and your health care is out of reach for millions. We're in the middle of a full-blown health crisis, and Republicans refuse to work with us to fix it." and I kept thinking to myself, is it that we don't want to work with them? And I was like, liar. Your idea of fix it is taxing the people in Bolivia. Over 9% of the population with a life-threatening condition seek medical advice and services outside the United States. More people now have no coverage than ever before. Healthcare companies record profits. Costs for Americans is nearly more than their rents and mortgages. You liars cannot fix it. You cannot fix your own lives. You drain the people dry of their refuge, spew ridiculousness, while at the same time saying, we are here to help. You don't help, you destroy. You literally demonically have destroyed everything that is good and replaced it with chaos and misfortune. Anyone that speaks up, you censor. You have banned or used the strong arm of the media to ridicule and defame. You people are literally the axis of evil. So with all due respect, of which you deserve none, piss off, liar. So I didn't really have a lot to say there. As you can see, I was trying to be nice when I put that up. And then we had Patrick Byrne put up something regarding Dominion voting systems. I did a 50-minute long video on Facebook. I put it out on Telegram as well to try and explain the fact that why is it that all these people that want to talk about elections and they want to tell us that they got it figured out and they were first to the list and I was the first one to report on it. Just remember on October or November 11th, I was the first one to put it out. I was the first one. I was the first. And they're fighting over who gets credit for the ridiculous. And so I had to put up something before that said, well, if you want to be technical, I was the first. Because it was November 6th, I was up hunting, and that's when I uncovered Dominion and Eric Coomer, which, by the way, you guys won't talk about Eric Coomer. So Dominion, this is what Patrick says, Dominion State filing said that the firm has simply changed its name to Liberty, and now Dominion's lawyers advise that the corporation was closed and all of its records set for destruction. Rock per 18 USC 1519 is destroying documents currently in use in civil litigation, a crime. And, Grok complied and said, yeah, it's a crime. And, I know this for a fact because our lawyers tried to subpoena Dominion voting systems. And I wanted everything, emails, everything that they had. And so they said, well, the Dominion's closed. It is no more. That's what they told our attorney. The fact that we actually can see all this on the surface, and we have media types like Kyle Clark and these people walking around saying, oh, Joe's calling for violence. You stole the election. You stole the voice of the American people. what you did led to the death and destruction of millions of Americans. You deserve to hang by your neck for treason. That's what you deserve. And so by saying that Dominion can do whatever they want because they own the judiciary, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it for the people in the back of the room. President Trump, go ahead and sign the Insurrection Act. Arrest 50,000 of these people. I don't actually care. And if you need people to be conscripted for the military service and it becomes a civil war, I'm all for it. Why? Because we cannot continue to go down this path where we play as if we can pretend that things are just going to be okay. They're not going to be okay. They're not going to be okay until we decide that we're willing to take things into our own hands. I don't even know if I want to cover this. This is a breakdown of Trump's new savings accounts. Forget it. Let's go ahead and play
it. This is how these accounts will work, and how others, as we've been saying, can get involved in them. The parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. Mm-hmm. Employers can contribute up to $2,500. And this is just one point I want to make here that I know you would want us to highlight. This is pre-tax income, okay?
The vehicle matters here.
So this lowers, you and your spouse make a certain amount of money. If you give your child $5,000, you take that out of your pre-tax income. So it lowers your taxable income and allows you to pass it on to your child.
You know what this is? It's not just good for the kid. Everybody who contributes to this is getting a benefit from it. And again, it's not we're making you do it. It's we're inviting you into prosperity, and that's going to be so much more motivating than any kind of tax requirement the government's going to put on you.
Okay, so let me also tell you that congratulations. So your tax rate will go from 56 cents on every dollar that you spend to 55.5%. And I forgot, on the other side, they're going to raise gas tax. You cannot, I'm telling you, no matter where you go, you can't escape the fact that you shouldn't have to pay over 50% of your pay to the government, period. These guys are giving it to Somali bandits by the billions. But don't worry, Tampon Tim is here to tell you that starting on January 1st, 2026, you can now have family bonding time that's paid for by the state of Minnesota. You can't make this up. We're going to talk about with Casey. It's got to come up. Play it.
We were over there because Martha has been a big proponent of our paid family medical leave program. Starting in Minnesota tomorrow, everybody who had a baby in 2025 can apply starting January 1st to get their medical leave. And on January 1st, everybody can. There's no reason that you should go broke because you have a baby and you can't bond with them, family member's sick, or you're sick. Here in Minnesota, we take care of our own. And guess what happens when you do this? Businesses are stronger. People are more loyal to their employers, and we see better productivity. So I just want to give a big shout out to Martha, all the crew that's over there at Marty's Deli, and they follow Hope's TikTok, so that's why we're doing it.
We're saying hi. If you're in the wonderful city of Minneapolis, go check it out. The back of this says pickles, breads, and spreads, all three things I survive on, so I can get behind it.
Go to Marty's Deli.
I don't even know what to say. Pickles, breads, and spreads. I survive on it. Okay, good for you. Good for you. I don't even know. I can't. No, I don't know. And by the way, it's not the government that pays for it. It's the businesses that pay for it. And by the way, in order to hire someone in the United States, you have to pay a 7.5% VIG. You have to contribute to Social Security. You know, the thing they say is an entitlement that they're giving you back when you turn 67 and a half. I don't think so. But he also wants you to know that if you're illegal, you can take advantage of it as well. So President Trump needs to send everybody up to the great state of Minnesota and just go ahead and round them all up. So at least they don't have to pay to service those people. Well, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time. I'm going to play this. This is Casey's latest monologue from his latest video on how to detect propaganda. This is pretty awesome. Let's go ahead and play it.
When you are swimming through media, be it in print or on your phone, the most important question to ask yourself is whether this is fiction, reality, or propaganda. Gutkind Kirschel was a German Jewish bookseller. Since the plan to rebuild Gaza by Israelis and Americans and relocate Palestinians was created in February 2025, 40,000 more people have been killed in Gaza by Israel and funded by the United States. It says literally the Nazis were the first in history to take full advantage of propaganda. Back in the garbage. The United States were. Name 10 people who will increase their net worth over $1 billion from the rebuilding of Gaza. Number 1, Larry Ellison. Number 2, Peter Thiel. But don't worry, Peter Thiel is totally not the Antichrist and is going to totally teach us all about who the Antichrist is. Good possibility it could be Greta Thunberg.
Well, I'm not going to waste a lot of time. And I do want you to know that we're going to leave this broadcast with hope today. I promise you, after you hear me and Casey talk about things, you're going to be the most hopeful you've ever been in your entire life. And if you're not, I can't help you. No, I'm just kidding. Casey, welcome to the show.
Howdy, man. Good to be here.
Hey, it's good to see you again. How you been?
Fantastic. Family's good. Trying to do things. Occasionally I get all pissed off and have to make a video. But in general, life's pretty good. And fixing up my car, doing guy stuff.
All right. What are you working on back there? What are we working on?
It's 1985 Porsche 944. Just freshen it up so I can use it as a daily driver.
Are you really going to use that as a daily driver? Is it a convertible or a hardtop?
No, it's hardtop.
All right.
Porsche galvanized the body from the factory so they don't rust real easy. It's a great economical car. If that was the only car I owned, I could drive it every day, every season of the year until I die.
Okay, so what about the engine? Are you replacing it with something a little bit more? Are you going to use the same engine or are you going to put a different in it?
Why change a good thing?
All right, well, there you go. All right. As your daily driver. Okay, all right.
You're talking to a guy who successfully daily drove a DeLorean for 2.5 years, including winter snow in Ohio.
Okay, let me just say so. I would do that.
Yeah.
I love DeLoreans. So
that was a good car.
What'd you do with your DeLorean?
I sold it. I mean, I don't have a magical bat cave of every car I've ever owned.
So tell me about what first of all, how was your Thanksgiving? How family good? Thanksgiving good?
Yeah, it was really great. Thanks for asking. My family all lives out of town, so we invited a real nice couple that are friends of ours with their little boy, little son. So with our little daughter, we just had a real nice time, kind of formal lunch, and then we're really close to our neighbors, so they invited us over that evening. So we, you have your own family when your real one's far away. How about you?
Absolutely. It was great. It was terrific. We went down to Texas, San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to go to a restaurant and eat. We actually had this whole dinner planned, and then our friends called and said, "Hey, the kids are really sick." So I looked at my wife and I was like, "I am not making a big spread for just the two of us. So let's just go to a restaurant." So we did.
I get it. Well, Thanksgiving for us, the morning, the little one actually enjoyed watching the Thanksgiving Day parade, which is a funny thing, I think, for men that are middle-aged and a lot of people, because it's supposed to be fun. But then you watch it, and all I can think is, God, how old are they? How old am I? What has happened to America? And that's what happens to guys like me. And but the wife and kiddo liked it, and then we had a lovely meal, and then I did dishes for many hours.
I bet. Well, I didn't have to do any dishes. Well, I mean, I did, but not as a result of dinner.
Yeah.
I want to jump into this because, I feel like we're 11 months into this experiment, right? Skipping 4 years, complete turmoil. President Trump gets in 11 months in, and exactly 0 people have been arrested. The 2 people that have been indicted, Letitia James and Comey, both have been exonerated by a judge that basically just threw out their case. We had nobody's been. 0 people have been charged. Nobody is going to the gulag. I'm just trying. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to go, Pam Bondi's 100% on our side. Kash Patel, Kardashian Patel is doing really well. I mean, just ask him. Help me, bro. I mean.
Well, I ain't no math magician or rocket surgeon, but there's an old-fashioned remedy to all these problems up in Washington.
Is it me, or are we just living in like
hell? We're living
Biden
in hell.
Biden light.
Biden light? No, we're living in a world where the government has zero accountability, and the billionaires have massively more power over the government that's supposed to be for we the people than we the people. So we're all screwed, and we're stuck watching a stage play like we're in Plato's allegory of the cave. That the powerful elite and the Washington D.C. class at this point don't even do us the honor of being very good at the stage play anymore.
I mean, I feel like they're not even lubricating at all. They're just kind of just sticking it right in our ears. I mean, our orifices are all a little sore because it stuck it in my eye yesterday, and then it was my ear, and I'm like, stop, just stop.
Yeah, they like that. They're into it.
And I don't want to.
The only way they can feel anything. You get that many, clinical psychopaths together, and that's the only way they can feel anything.
You just, but it's as if there's two dimensions. I mean, quite literally two dimensions.
What do you mean?
The government can operate with absolute impunity, do whatever they want, and the American people get punished. But if you're a criminal, then the government's like, hey, that's a part of my tribe. We got to make sure we let them out. So, hey, just go out and commit a bunch of crimes, and well, wink, wink, we'll just let you out after 2 months. Okay, gotcha. Just go out there. Next time, light them all the way on fire. Don't just pour gasoline on them. Am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right. Which begs the question: if the government doesn't go after criminals, and we the people don't like the government, what difference does it make if we all become criminals? That's what they don't want you to think, and frankly, that's what I don't want to think myself.
Yeah, but
that's where we are.
You've got to the point where entitlements. I just did a couple of interviews. I was interviewing a couple of people. One of them went really well. Great individual. I said, listen, this is my political background. You probably want to do the research before you come work for us. And the other one was like listening to milquetoast.
What do you mean?
Just not a very good person, not smart at all. I go, why again am I talking to this person? I just asked 2 questions. I was like, okay, that's great. Okay, let's move on. I got to go. Because I typically, when somebody comes work for the company, I at least have a conversation with them so that they know that they're getting into the bee's nest. But look, it doesn't seem to, you have states that are captured, you have people that are captured, you have a system that doesn't allow for people to have any sort of seat at the table. And then they're surprised by the outcome, but they tell us, hey, look, violent crime's down 20%. And I'm thinking to myself, from what? Where? And let's say that's true. Opportunity deserts that are growing faster than we can. The kids are getting out of college with no opportunity to get a job. None.
I know. Been going that way for a long time. You can get federal student loans for a degree in fine arts with absolutely no direction to get a jobs or any mentoring with that, or even any actual jobs. So it means universities just get to pilfer the money from the future of young people, selling them lollipops and unicorn farts and destroying tomorrow.
All right. So I almost said what's the answer, but I don't really want your answer to that question. Political discourse. The Republicans and the Democrats are both unhappy right now. Would you say? I mean, you're not happy.
Oh, I would agree. In fact, with my so-called political crash outs, that really came about when I had it with the Republican Party. I'm like, I'm done. This is bullshit. You did nothing but rug pull all of us, lie to us. This is all a effing joke. I already realized that of the Democrats. So I just started speaking as a person that thinks. That's it. And what's amazing is the amount of people subscribing and coming over. I've got liberal women in California watching my show and agreeing. That should tell us all something, that independent thought's the most important thing. And I'll mention this. So you hear everyone speak about the uniparty. 2 wings of the same bird or 2 cheeks of the same stinky asshole. Well, that's right. And that's very depressing. However, you're looking at a 2-dimensional picture. Flip it around and look at the backside. When you realize there's a uniparty, you also realize there's no left and right. There's just people. And if you stop thinking left and right, you'll realize mostly everybody agrees. And then you have the chance to possibly lead. And I think that's the weird sort of Alice in Wonderland mirror magic that they don't want everybody to realize, is that you can look at this uniparty BS from the other side.
Yeah. So when we look at it from the left and the right, I mean, just from my perspective, I'm more concerned about the right than I am the left, because the right is actually in charge right now. They have all the levers of power. I mean, if you want to, they have it.
Well, to be fair, it's not the right. Are they?
No.
What's the administration doing that's anything that they ran on? Well, what are they doing that's anything of what the conservative party and the so-called right is?
Yeah, I think there's genuine fear that if they give back power to the people, and I'm talking about free and fair elections, with in-person voting, get rid of machine, the mail-in ballots, get rid of all of that, that the American people will literally destroy everything that they've done and every mechanism that they've created, because
maybe, but who's the they?
Well, I mean, look, I think most people agree on most things. I think take social issues, put it aside, they still want life, liberty, pursuit of happiness for their children. If you take out grooming out of the institutions, so the educational institutions, a large part of those kids are ill-equipped to go out to the real world to begin with, right? But if the parents, it's not because the parents don't want them to be equipped. They just don't recognize that the schools aren't equipped to equip them.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time since we had shop and home ec and things that actually help people be a functioning member of society. And it's long since we've gotten into, the last 4 years of grooming, DEI, hide crap from your parents, you'll be considered a terrorist if you go to a school board meeting kind of BS. I've been thinking on different kind of philosophical and I've been flying at different altitudes lately, taking different views than just school boards and being bogged down at the bottom. Because what family, what mom doesn't want to know what's going on at school? What parent doesn't want to actually get to say that they get to say over what their kids can or can't do? What parent doesn't want the teachers to have a certain distance from that and no ability to take power away from the parents? I don't know any, unless you're literally a sick wacko or being paid. So, the school board issue is not a right or left thing. It's a power thing. But as long as we keep thinking it's right and left, we'll never realize that.
Well, that brings me to the platform discussion. With the platforms on both sides all say the same thing. They mimic well, we want to make sure that we improve education. A bunch of stuff that you can't ever get to because you never actually get to the problem. You always service the symptoms. And as we start to create these dog whistles, I mean, people. You said that people on the left are actually listening to your podcast.
Yeah.
You think at some point people have actually just gotten to the point where they're like, listen, it's not getting better. It hasn't gotten better over the last 20 years. It's gotten progressively worse. Maybe there's something to this, getting people that can represent people in our community. Or do you think we're just past it? You think we're just to the point where it's just that we're going towards a bottomless vat at this point?
Well, we are, but the thing is, people can only wake up so fast. The amount of people that are waking up since 2020 is astonishing.
Yeah.
And people are going to wake up in different ways. You'd be like, what's going on? And then blame like the first thing they think of. And there's a process to everybody really coming to a point of, should we say, some kind of enlightenment? The difficulty with that is the fast approach of AI, a totalitarian surveillance state, it's an arms race. It's an arms race of the organic intelligence waking up and finding enlightenment of the stage play that they're in, and AI's ability to get powerful enough to completely control them. Look at who's buying what media. Look at who's buying what social media platform. Look at what you can talk about and what you can't talk about. And if the things you can't talk about relate to the entities and people and powers that are buying the platforms, you found something.
Well, I mean, do you put stuff out on TikTok? You play with
I hate TikTok. I won't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I can't. I just can't. I can't do TikTok.
I don't either. I tried for a little bit, and every one of my videos got taken down.
Yeah, I just can't, man. I just can't. I can't stomach it. I've tried for about 2 seconds in the past, and I'm like, there's nothing here. Nothing here. And I already hate X, but X is like the real world and lollipops and, tulip fields compared to TikTok. I've always thought of TikTok only as a social destructive force and a programming tool. There's just no value. I can't do it.
And YouTube have they given up the censorship, or have you seen that your censorship on your platform has gotten worse?
I don't know.
Depending on the subject.
I'm shocked that my videos have been doing as well as they are. Because I've said a whole lot of truth, real hard, real loud, real angry, and I've used a lot of expletives. And I've seen almost no consequences to this point.
Well, but typically they come fast and hard. They copy strike you 1, 2, 3, and then you're out.
Yeah, my channel's probably going to be gone in the next 2 weeks.
I take it you're talking about the Jew problem.
The what?
The Jew problem? Are you talking about the Jew
No,
problem?
I just predict my channel. If it's going to be gone, it's going to be gone. And I'll say before the year's out.
And why? I mean, I've seen your videos. I don't think anything you're saying is not truthful. I don't think you say it disrespectfully either. I think you give people enough room.
Well, it is. But I'm just going to make that prediction right now.
Your channel will be gone?
Yeah. Before the year's out. Not because of what I do.
Just because you think that both sides are going to realize that you need to be gone?
Yeah, because I'm a goal-oriented person and not a maintenance-oriented person, which means I'm going to keep doing stuff. And eventually, they're not going to want me to keep doing stuff.
All right, how do you balance it?
What is it?
I mean, I knew that we were going to go negative here because I'm
not negative. I'm going to go positive. I'm being super real right now. I'm smiling.
The problem is you're smiling. You're okay with it. But the reality of it is that you have to deal with the retards out there that want to take everything from you because they're not afraid of the truth.
They're a whole lot different than retards.
Okay, what are they?
Machiavellian clinical psychopaths that only want power.
There you go. I got called a Nazi on Monday.
You're a terrible Nazi, by the way.
I am, aren't I?
I mean, look at you. They were so much better dressed. If you were really a Nazi, you'd be better dressed.
I don't really. Frankly, I think that's probably the one thing that would differentiate me from being a Nazi.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to actually. I was joking around. Like this whole Nazi thing is so stupid.
No, listen. I think that at some level, the dog whistles have gotten so loud that the people that know what they mean don't even pay attention to them. But you have this entire class of people, including a bunch of bots, that frankly it's debilitating. You want to just step away from. I want to step away from social media altogether. Just be done with it.
Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, how long ago was it before we were battling like you're racist, Black Lives Matter,
mm-hmm.
you're transphobic, homophobic, you're sexist, you're I don't know, you're anti-Mexicans or illegal immigrants or something, and now you're antiseptic. And this seems like the final boss, doesn't it? The final boss for America. Because if we can get on the other side of this, what's left?
Well, there isn't. There isn't.
No.
There's not much left. There's nothing sacred left anyway.
No.
And every single day it's a gotcha, right? Oh, Pete Hegseth did this. Oh my gosh, this is what Biden did before. And I have this huge announcement. It's going to be a savings account.
They haven't given us any meat on the bones.
I think that's the point, is that most Americans are not feeling it. They're not feeling any sort of love from from the last 11 months. And maybe it's a vacuum effect. Maybe
they can't even use lube. I've been wholly disappointed by the administration this year. Wholly disappointed. And there's voices out there, and I'm not going to say who, but there's voices, law of voices, which are stoking that, shall we say, resentment for the administration this year, saying that, basically inferring that they're so smart because we didn't see it and we're duped again. Well, what other choice did we have, smart guys?
Yeah, I mean, there was worse, and then there was worser.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and who the heck wants to vote for Kamala?
No, nobody wanted to vote for him. And the reality of it is, it would have been the ship would have sunk. So it feels like a speed bump to the tyranny of America. We get into 2026. We haven't solved the one major problem. Do you think that they solved the election problem, that at least it would slow things down to a place where we'd have some semblance of transparency?
You know what? I'm just going to say yes. But why would they solve a problem for us that's not in their best interest to solve? Because it still doesn't matter. That's why. So let me ask you a question. So we see old Trumpy trying to rush to have unregulated AI and full surveillance state kind of stuff and full power for the government in every way, shape, and form, right? Doesn't that seem like too much power to give the other party?
But that's you set it up where your party's in charge of it, and you end up handing it off because you don't solve the problem.
I think it's simpler than that. All they're doing is telling us right now and showing it to our face that it doesn't matter who's in office.
Okay, President Trump said something, and over the last couple of days, I've said it now 2 or 3 times with guests. He was asked the question of whether or not he was going to go to. You think you're going to go to heaven? And he's like, no, I don't. You think there's something to that?
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to burn to hell. That's for damn sure. Why don't you ask AI? Just ask AI. Name a dozen or more people that will increase their net worth more than $1 billion from the redevelopment of the Gaza Strip, which can only happen if it's war-torn rubble.
And
then look at
rubble.
Yeah, and then look at why. Look at when the leaked document from the White House was originally created to show the redevelopment of the Gaza Strip and who's doing what, where, when. And then give consideration to how many people have been killed by whose hands, funded by whose dollars since that time. And then why don't you just cross-reference it to all the things in the last century that we all consider the worst evils? And then objectify a scale of actual morality and decide where on the scale this one lies.
All right, but let's be honest. If you use that as an indicator for what's right, I mean, we killed 500,000 people in early 1990s, or middle of 1990s in Iraq.
The United States has a lot of bad things.
Since World War II, we've killed more people than ever died in World War II. We have privatized wars everywhere. We have the CIA that runs amok all over the world. We have reports that
run
just
more
came
than
out.
amok.
Yeah, I mean, there's a report that just came out that what's her name, Emerald Robinson put out, which is all the information related to the whistleblowers from Serbia, from Venezuela, from Dominion, and it didn't even get a blink.
Of course not.
It's as if she threw a bomb in the middle of the forest and nobody even knew the bomb went off. I mean, there's not even fallout from it. And I'm thinking to myself, why is it not the biggest story out there? Why is Fox not picking this up? We have all the information.
Well, hold on. No offense, but why would you even say, why isn't Fox picking this up? Every single mainstream media outlet, including Fox, is only a different flavor of propaganda, period.
All right. Well, then let's say this. Why aren't other influencers picking it up?
Do they even know what's going on? And here's the other reason why. This is simple.
They're too busy fighting. I mean,
they're too busy fighting. Why? Because that's what the algorithm likes. That's where they get the damn views. So that's what they keep their eye on the ball. They keep their eye where the algorithm is. They all chase it.
The sad part about what you're saying is that it just doesn't matter. We're just running in a circle. We're basically like lab rats running on a wheel.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a lab rat, damn it.
So the question is, how many steps are we away from a kinetic time?
I think we're already there.
And what are they?
I think we're already there.
No, we're not. I don't see anything going kinetic.
Well, then the fact that you had a guy shoot two National Guardsmen.
One guy?
Yeah, okay.
How do we know that wasn't
Charlie
done for a political reason?
And how about Charlie Kirk, right? I mean, we have the more.
Well, there's political gain to be had out there. Things have to happen in front of everybody's faces.
That's my point. The people become the useful idiots. The people become the victims. They put these criminals back on the street. I'm sorry?
In our own stage play.
And we sit back and watch it. And we say to each other, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Anything other than what you're doing right now.
Correct. So that's what I asked. Okay, so let's use the word kinetic so we don't get too much trouble. So that's a real thing. So how many steps is America right now away from going kinetic? And the question is, what are those steps? And what does it take for each one of those steps to happen? And the reason I'm bringing this up is so we can figure out another path.
All right, so what's that other path?
Well, let me ask you this. Do you believe that the United States and its government and how this place operated at some point in history was pretty decent?
Well, that's a tough question.
Kind of a yes or no. I made that pretty vague.
Yeah, I mean, do I believe it was in a better? Yes. I mean, I would be wrong to ignore the fact that I've had an amazing amount of opportunities in my life, and those opportunities were, I don't think I would have had the same opportunities if I were in a different country. So yeah, I do believe that going back 30 or 40 years, that there was opportunity for people to get a better life, to become more educated, to do better things.
So 30 or 40 years puts us in the 80s and 90s, right?
Right.
Okay. And then at other points, would you say in history, whether it's last century, the one before, or any other time, perhaps our government, the United States, functioned more as some modicum of we the people-ish?
Yeah.
Maybe progressively have gotten worse? Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is, how do we get there? And the other question I have to ask relating to the 80s and 90s, because I was writing something today. The phrase that hard times creates strong men, and strong men create good times creates weak men, and weak men create hard times?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're saying basically we had good times kind of, post-war. Going in the 80s is pretty good times. Some crap out there, but it's pretty good times, right? So we're creating a lot of weak men out there, so to speak. And that's facilitating or creating bad times. And I would say it's the weak men, the weak, complacent men and women. Let's be equal opportunity here. They've facilitated the bad times created by powerful, manipulative people. So what's the solution to that? We can forego complacency and indifference and push back, even though we're just comfortable enough not to care. I had a young person the other day I hung out with him in a while. Makes a little bit of money. He's got a job. Still lives at home. It's a hard time out there nowadays, so I'm not knocking that, but he lives at home, so he doesn't have that expense. I don't believe that he has a girlfriend, so he doesn't have that expense. So he's a single guy with a sports car and likes to go shooting and whatnot. And we were having lunch, and he told me he doesn't really care about politics, doesn't really care about what's going on because he's doing well. That is the worst possible answer and position to be in. All that means is you are exactly what they all want. I was kind to him and I listened to him. And I said, hey, man, it may feel like it now, but you can't afford to not at least pay a little attention.
Or by the time you actually get up, you'll be in a position where you won't be able to pay attention.
Yeah.
Won't be anything left.
Yeah. So, okay. Life's a lot simpler than we make it. You know, my granddaddy, he was a World War II vet, doctor of optometry for his whole life. Didn't miss an Ohio State football game for 50 years. Ohio State home game, I should say. He'd always say, "There's too damn much government." He's right. But the worst thing is, though, there's no accountability for the government. We have no accountability. Our legal system's totally skewed against us. Lawfare is very real. No normies have defense. And the only reason they keep up the stage play is because the status quo is to go along with the stage play, and the industry is kind of centered around it. It's just that it's like the DMV. Like, the DMV doesn't have to give you very good service because it's not private interest. It's government, and that's the way it is, and you're stuck with it. So the government doesn't even give us the good service of giving us a good stage play anymore. This is bad. So, okay, kinetic, right? A revolution, something of that nature. How in the hell would you actually get people, one, motivated enough, and two, organized enough to do that? They wouldn't be squelched. Yeah, and then the other thing is, when was it? Was it relatively recent in the last?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I think that you've gotten to the place now where people are learning how to connect and be connected in a much more loose fit, lean in on certain talents. I certainly am seeing it in Colorado. We have these brotherhood groups that are being created everywhere, and we're testing it. We're testing the groundwork on whether or not that gives people the opportunity to stand up for people in our community. So,
to be fair, I do hear some things like that out here too.
So people will find their own tribe, because when it gets tough, people can recognize good from evil, and they will flock to that good. And
so, I'm sorry, continue. Forgive me.
No, I think that men are finding their courage. I think they're finding their inner voice. Certainly, you did a lot with cars before you decided to get into politics and mix in politics with cars, right? And a lot of that, I think, is tied to the fact that your family. I mean, you're a dad, like you're a husband, and it's hard to look out and see all the things that are happening and not be nervous and pissed off all at the same time.
Sure.
So, and you found your tribe. You have people that are your tribe, right?
Made one. Yeah, of course. We're all on the same team out here. We all are our own tribe. They just keep us divided and fighting, because that's how they keep power and control. And if you don't believe me, look at the nature of what keeps everybody on various social media platforms. Just that. So, you said we were going to keep it positive here today and inspirational.
I think this is positive. I think it's positive that we understand that there are men out there that will stand together with each other. I mean, there's nothing better than that, I don't think. I mean, we could trace it back to, the 16th century, when they basically, the king was afraid because people were upset that they were overtaxing the people and taking more off the table than would allow people to be able to feed their families through the winter. And this is, I mean, obviously I'm talking about, the England at the time, but the same thing is happening right now. They're taking too much meat off the bone, and you see that they recognize this, though. Casey, they recognize it, and they know that they pushed us too far, because you have states that are talking about getting rid of property tax. Well, we should just get rid of property tax. Florida's talking about it. Texas is talking about it. They're talking about how we lower taxes and do things through tariffs, which is just a tax. But they're starting to realize that people are pushed up against the wall. They can feel it, right? And
I agree. I also, the more time that goes by, I think that local and state related politics are vastly more important than we all think of or give credit to. Because the other thing is, at the end of the day, I mean, we're all in a state, right? If Washington, D.C.'s gone completely to hell, but a state can protect itself, well, that's something. Oh, we got states that are bigger than European countries.
Well, I mean, that's all good, and that sounds great on paper, but then you have to deal with the fact that these elections are putting really radical people in positions of power.
Oh, you mean like Soros dumping $37 million into Mandami's campaign through shell companies or whatever?
Yeah. And the reality of it is that you can't, every time that we go to plug a hole, there's another hole that pops up where you're like, wait, where did that come from?
Okay, well then it would seem that what you said about people are going to have each other's backs, that we need to put that to the test in a way that is constructive.
Are you talking about vigilante justice?
I said in a way that's constructive.
That's why I said vigilante justice. I didn't say hang anyone. Vigilante justice you can spank people too. You just get out that big old hand and just say, whap.
No, I think it's time we care and got behind doing things the right way. And I don't mean this pussyfoot and let's go to some dinner kind of thing. Let's do that. I'm talking about this thing where people stop being afraid. I'm going to lose my job. What if somebody doesn't like me? Give me a break. I've been out here shooting my mouth off like a lunatic. No, I mean, it's actually intelligent. I haven't got canceled. I don't have any backlash. Here's the other thing. You want to end anybody getting canceled? You want to end that once and forever? How do you become uncancelable? This is a simple question.
I don't know. I don't know how you
get canceled.
Huh?
Get canceled. If we all already just comport ourselves in a way that would have got us canceled, guess what? They have no power over us.
Yeah, the biggest part that I think we face it's not a problem, it's a challenge, is that there are just too many retarded, stupid people in the world. I mean, there's just too many people. They're just stupid.
You know what? It's still a first world country. There's still people are going to be herd mentality at some point, but there's so many dang smart people out there. You know it with the internet. How many? If you say one little thing, how many people are going to have a comment and call you out and check that? How many people will gang up on silly things and idiocy? I'm going to say something about that. I have heard, they say boomers in a negative way. It's like, well, kids today, they don't care about older cars. They don't care. Why don't they care about my 65 Corvette? No, they don't want to work with their hands. They don't want to do this. Well, the reason they don't want to do anything is they don't care is you never made it matter to their lives and you never shared. You didn't give a damn about the young people. And if you don't give a damn, guess what? They're not going to give a damn. So I'm not going to call a public stupid anymore and retarded. I might call an individual retarded because their actions are retarded. But I would actually, in a nice way, I would suggest to you, let's not do that anymore because it's a fucking cop-out.
All right.
I think people are a lot smarter than that. And that's the only way we're going to get them together. We're going to tell everybody they're stupid and retards and they're not going to do anything, or we're going to say it's like,
well, we can individually call them stupid and retarded.
You know what? No one's stupid and retarded anymore. They just are what they are. Nobody calls anybody a genius unless it's ironic. We don't even call people criminals. Let's call them criminals.
Well, you can't do that. But
why not?
Let's talk about the furries then. So they don't lack some brain cells?
Probably plenty of really smart furries. But they have found an unusual alternative lifestyle because there is something in their life unbalanced.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, how many of these people doing what we would consider freak stuff in the last however many years are doing it because they get attention and shock? So what's wrong with society that they have no attention? They don't get any attention, or they don't feel satisfied in their life with the community. What is it?
Well, I think
that's really it.
You just put your finger on the pulse of the fact that people feel invisible. They don't feel like they have any. They don't feel like they matter. They don't feel, and you can hear it by people saying it. Like it doesn't matter. I can't change anything. I can't change anything.
Yeah, well, and they also compare themselves, and that is the mental illness that comes along with social media. Who controls social media? How do they stay in power and wealthy? How do you get people from ever organizing or doing anything and kicking people that are powerful and wealthy and manipulative out for anything better to happen?
Well, I mean, do you think there's something wrong with people being wealthy? I mean, is that
no, but I will tell you this, and if I sound like a lefty of some sort, I don't care. I'm really tired of the billionaires. I'm really tired of all these rich fuck billionaires. And here's the reason being. They have no creativity. They don't give a damn about us. The few that act like they do, they don't. Look at their actions. Give me a break. Like Elon Musk, everybody still seems to like him to some point. Oh, really? You were a leftist for how many years when you could suck off the American teat to build your car company and pretend you're saving the environment when you're not? But suddenly now you want to be right wing and you're all sad because the left transed your kid. How many baby mamas does he have with how many kids running how many companies? You think he spends any times with his kids? Like he's being a good dad. Maybe that's where your behavioral problems came from. Maybe that's the problem. They just don't have a good dad. So and so this guy suddenly cares about illegal immigration when you can ask Grok and it'll tell you that Tesla saves $100 to $200 million a year from H-1B visas, displacing American engineers with Indians and Chinese who aren't part of the culture that'll work for less, and you destroy the job market. He didn't give a damn, and he's like the nicest one. The rest of these billionaires are just sick freaks. Too much power. That is a breakdown of our entire system. And I'm not a stinking commie or socialist or whatever. Frankly, I'm tired of the labels. But this is not good.
So I mean, you say it's. I mean, this is again, we're identifying that billionaires are the problem. So how do you fight? I mean,
it's not that billionaires are the problem. It's these sickos that are the problem, that have too much money and power. Our government has no power over them. They control it. The government and that have zero accountability. And the people have no power.
So what's the resolution? What's the how do you fix that?
The people have to stick together. The government needs accountability. And the billionaires need a reality check.
Well, I mean, you have the Peter Thiels of the world. You have the Bill Gates.
Okay, that guy's the Antichrist. I'm sorry. If he isn't, okay. He knows. Like, I can't even believe he was doing that. I'm like, dude, like, did you not know? I mean, we can see you. You're right there.
Yeah, I don't actually know from my perspective. I know a lot about Bill Gates. I know a lot about what he did in Africa and other nations. I look at what Peter's doing and the fact that you have Palantir and all these other companies that are basically running the government at this point. And it's just another, sock puppet for the CIA. It's a sock puppet for these organizations that have never had accountability over the last 70, 80 years.
Completely true.
So it's not, we just call it a different name. But the reality of it is if we can strip it out, then we can save our nation. And it benefits the Democrats and the Republicans to strip it out.
Benefits humanity.
So why can't we get into the community and be like, okay, listen, why can't we walk in and go, all right, guys, it's not working. You guys want to make abortion the biggest issue. We don't want to genocide, black and brown people, right? But you want to basically talk about the lack of opportunity. Well, let's just talk about the lack of opportunity to breathe and live, right? Now let's put all of that aside for a minute. And let's just get into the community and figure out what's really happening. Like, why don't they have schools? Why is there food deserts? Why is there opportunity deserts? Why is there education deserts? And this is all coming from within their own community. Like, there's no, white people running around in Compton. There just aren't. Maybe one, maybe two.
Well, look what happened to the black community in the last 50 years. Like they've gone downhill. And don't you think that everything that's made them gone downhill looks like a little too convenient and kind of orchestrated? The inner city is nothing more than an ideological plantation, and it seems that the Democrats like to keep them there.
Well, so I know a lot about that because my family's interracial, so I can tell you that what you're saying is actually true. It's very true. Sorry, I'm trying to fix this real quick.
I don't like it. I mean, who would?
But I think that's what I'm talking about is why can't we, and this gets to the mainstream media and the fact that people actually listen to it. Why can't we get people that walk in and want to solve problems and those become the candidates? Why can't we have a third party that's just like an independent party? Why is it that those parties, and I know you're going to say it's the billionaires because you can't ever get a voice. You can't ever get a seat at the table where
I don't know if I necessarily say that. So keep going though.
But how do we not have a third independent party that has some leverage in order to protect the people? Why is it we can't?
Nobody organizes well enough. Nobody organizes well enough. This is where our country's evolved to. I had a conversation. This is funny. I'll tell you the story, right? So let's make it slightly funny for a second. So, by the way, thanks for having me on again. It's always enjoyable to talk to you. I get a little feisty, but it just comes out with me with you.
Hey, look, I want feisty because I want to be able to challenge myself. And sometimes I just say stuff to you just to piss you off because I know I can.
What are you, Piers Morgan? He's the masturbator of rage.
No, I just want to be able to get those things out of you because I think that the more I talk about things collectively without friction, the less likely people are to listen. And so the people are like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. I don't want people to hear it before. I want them to try and resolve the problem themselves. We're always just waiting for sitting on our hands, waiting for Trump to do something. Well, he's not. It's like looking at a rock and saying, do something. Rock.
So yeah, let me tell you a story. So I did, I had some other people ask me to do a podcast type thing like this, a YouTube video. And there's one guy, and honestly, I've been really busy lately, communication and stuff. And I kind of just like to try to say yes to people as much as possible, even if not. Sometimes just because I know it's tough to be a YouTuber or try to create content. And so I see this guy reach out to me and I see the name of his thing. It said like Rust Breakers or something. And I'm thinking, oh, it seems to be like a car. I think this is a car podcast. And when they asked me questions about that, sent me a link or two. I didn't look. And I was just like, all right, we'll do it. Because he wanted to talk about like the Omega car and Genus Garage and everything like that's fine. And then at the end, the dude tells me, oh yeah, I'm involved with something ACP. And I'm like, ACP, what, 45, 380? What are you talking about? He's like, no, American Communist Party. And I'm like, what? I'm like, wait, why did you lead with that? Wait, I'm doing a podcast with the commie now? And I'm like, and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, you know what? I have a question. You want to do another podcast and just talk about that? I'll do it. Let's do it. Let's talk in a genuine way. You as this person as a communist, right? Let's talk. And so he did. It was really nice. And I'm thinking, oh God, what am I doing? But he was really cool. And he said he was going to name it When Putsch Comes to Shove, a play on my last name, Casey versus the Commies, which I thought was great. And that makes me feel good. But the first thing I got out of that was he mentioned the word debate. And I'm like, why would we debate? What's the purpose of that? In a debate, the objective is to win. And debates are short. They have a time limit. So how can you cultivate any worthwhile abstract thought or come together with anybody in a moment of realization other than a combative thing to try to beat the other and one up them? That's not constructive. I said, why don't we just have a mutually respectful, like actual conversation that's not overly guarded and just let it be that. And then we and anybody watching can choose to more firmly adopt their own beliefs or even evolve in some way. And that could be anybody. But in that conversation, this is my point, forgive me. I said, okay, let me ask you something to this guy after I let him say, tell me why you like this communism thing. And I said, can you then tell me something you think is good, some bullet points about capitalism, socialism, and let's say classic right-wing fascism. He talked and whatnot, but it kind of came to the point. I'm like, do you realize that all these constructs are basically just a different way that different people look at the structure of society and think that this is going to be the best one? And that all of those people judge the best outlook or the best outcome for society based upon their own experiences and standards? And wouldn't you say that all those things are just another flavor of people actually trying to have a better life, even though some use them for power and negative and whatnot, and each one of them comes in different waves and times and histories and places? Like, I just had to bring it up because the problem with America right now is, one, tribalism beyond just we the people is not helpful. Tribal politics, identity politics is horrific. Having to put a label on literally anything, that screws it up because it brings us apart and finds us a way to be combative. The nature of our debates, the nature of our politics is combative. We spend hundreds of millions and billions of dollars for people to be in a race together to absolutely beat the crap out of each other, run them all through the muck, to denigrate and demoralize the population that our leaders are all garbage and that nothing they ever said ever happens while we spend absurd amounts of money for that? When the hell, for some race out there, is a Republican and a Democrat going to actually have the balls to go, hey, I got an idea. Let's say we just say, fuck this, and donate the money to this. And with our campaigns, we just come together and meet and start spending our campaign money on fixing up wherever it is that we live, show the people. And, I'll tell you what, if it's the position, if you're running, if you win, you be that person and I lose, and then I'll be your sidekick and vice versa. How about that? When's that going to happen?
I mean, it'd be a great opportunity. We have that in Colorado right now with candidates that are opposed to each other on the Republican side with Scott Bottoms and Victor Marks. And I told Scott Bottoms, I was like, listen, whoever wins, win, lose, or draw, the other one should be the lieutenant governor, period. And stop. You guys just figure it out. Stop bad-mouthing each other. You're both very solid candidates, and whoever they decide, the people decide. And that way you eliminate this kind of friction that gets created with the candidates. But I mean, I totally agree with you. And I see that kind of play out, the lack of debate. I have a friend of mine named Ike McCorkle. He's a Democrat. He's a lefty. And he constantly puts stuff up on his page, and he's talking about stuff that I don't agree with. And I'm like, man, bro, you were trained for this. This is bullshit. Just take this down. This is a lie. And I do it all day long because he's so ideologically, but we don't debate.
Okay.
We just have a conversation. I brought him on and asked him a bunch of questions. I was like, well, I don't agree with you, but have you considered this? Right. And normally he hates people that are Republicans, but I love talking to the guy. And everybody's like, well, I can't believe you talked to Ike at all. And I was like, why? He's a fun guy to talk to.
At this point, I'll talk to anybody. I think we should be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, we should, but
I've frankly always been that way, but I mean like on the internet, you know?
But the problem is on the internet, like there's certain people that I frankly have no love lost for. I don't have any love lost for leaders that are.
Oh, there's some people I might talk to, but I might tell them what I think.
Yeah. I mean, look, I called for, leaders in the state of Colorado to be tried for treason for stealing elections. And so they should be hung by their neck.
Yeah, I mean, military tribunal, hanging is still a acceptable method of capital punishment.
Well, I mean, I tell you, they put it all over 9 News. Like this guy, Kyle Clark, who just loves me. He's got to love. He loves me. Guy loves me. Watches the show.
Detecting sarcasm.
No. He must have like a crush on me or something secretly because the guy does, Channel 9 News at the top of the hour. I mean, this is what he does. This is the #1 news station in Colorado, and he does nothing but talk about me.
In what way, may I ask?
I called for violence, and MAGA podcaster Joe Oltmann is calling for the release of Tina Peters. Tina Peters shouldn't be in jail. 9 years. You let a guy out that was trafficking enough fentanyl to kill everyone in the state of Colorado. You get him off on probation, and you put this woman who's a Gold Star mom, 70 years old, in prison for 9.5 years. You make it make sense to me. You can't, right? So, but I digress. He's one of the people that I frankly would want to be, fry in a hot vat of acid.
Yeah, I've reached a point where, if you notice, I kind of gently closed my eyes for a moment, went silent right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I have a lot to say and choose to say nothing.
No, keep saying it, man. You don't have to you don't have to hold anything back with me. Nothing. Because I don't care. I don't give a shit if people like me or dislike me. Right? They keep coming to watch my podcast. So, I mean, it's
whose country is this?
Whose country? It's our country.
Is it?
Well, not technically, no.
Isn't it? Then whose is it?
We don't own anything.
Oh, don't we? No, I do know of this. But say we all decided we just don't give a shit about that, and we want things to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, I think everybody's already done that.
What do you mean?
Okay, so the criminal that slit the throat of Arena, right? We all saw that.
Yeah.
Tell me who feels good about that decision, and that was good that person's out, and that she's just a sad, symptom or side effect. Tell me who.
No one that I know of.
No, except the person paying the radicalized idiot judges that let them out, and those radicalized idiot judges, right?
Right.
So who are they, and why are they doing it?
Well, look, that's the $1 million question: is why would they be returning people that are criminals back to the streets, unrehabilitated, knowing that they're unrehabilitated, just putting them back on the street?
You know, other people are having this discussion right now, so don't feel that I need to. But it's funny how nowadays all these things start pointing to the same thing if you paid enough attention for long enough.
What do you think the answer is?
I'm going to let everybody decide that on their own.
Look, chaos favors the op, never favors the people. The more chaos you put in the streets, the more likely you are to get an outcome favorable to you, because everyone is looking at the chaos. They're not looking about what's happening in plain sight. Right?
Yeah, in 1839 in Switzerland, in Zurich, the universities were really liberal. And they did some funny things and started screwing around with religion. And the rural people and the workers and the farmers got so mad they got their pitchforks and what have you, and put an end to that. And actually, I think in Zurich, that's still celebrated as a positive, heroic moment. But that, I think, was one of the first things called a putsch, which is my last name. Eventually, people just have had it. And we're talking about that a lot in America. And America is a different place. And frankly, right now, am I calling for an armed revolution? No, I'm not even suggesting it right now. In fact, I've got other ideas and plans. But I do think it's good that people are talking about that. And I think maybe the most constructive way to talk about that is if we start trying to analyze what's happening from a 50,000-foot view, so to speak, and we start looking at this stage we're at in America and what the construct is in terms of individuals, their psychology, the psychology of the masses at community level, state level, federal level, and all of the entities and things that are. And don't overly complicate it. Don't be tribal. But let's look at the steps. Where are we? What's potential to happen? And, I don't believe for a minute the sunshine and lollipops that are getting blown up our posteriors by, Washington right now. Oh yeah, Donald's going to get rid of income tax. Oh yeah, and AI and autonomy is going to make it so we're all rich, Elon. Yeah, sure. Maybe things will help out eventually, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. The other thing I want to say is a lot of people nowadays talk about how this time in history, the world over and the United States, relates to times and places of the first half of the 20th century. Things that relate to Europe and whatnot. Yeah, there's some similarities, but I would actually say that what's going on now more closely relates to the social, economic, and political struggles of the earlier industrialized revolution from the 1800s. With the advent of AI, automation, robots, etc., and control, it's like early industrial time when, people that were skilled craftsmen losing jobs, but now it's going to be jobs that are white collar and such. And the reason I think that is I started reading some things relating to political upheaval and parties and the advent of Marxism eventually to come and whatnot, and looking at, poverty and economy and such in the 1800s from the industrialized revolution. I'm like, oh my God, it parallels now. And that'll probably be kind of show our roadmap in a parallel way with this AI computer information age. I think it's more the 1800s.
I mean, so you think that history is just like repeating itself? We're just in a
sense, because it parallels the same thing. It just happens in a different way. And the sad thing is, though, at least with the Industrial Revolution, the 1800s, we got to a point where we could make some really amazing things, and we had beautiful architecture in the late 1800s, especially in Europe and whatnot. And obviously there's a lot of poverty and stuff, so it's not like everybody had it well back then, but there are a lot of beautiful, amazing peaks of humanity type things and great thinkers getting to that place and all. The difficult time with our information age and AI is we're not creating anything. Sorry, AI porn doesn't count. That's bad news for humanity. AI is not creating anything, and the people are already lost anyway. So, they're not going to be taken advantage of when their jobs are gone by the powers that be. And the powers that be, what are they creating? Not a goddamn thing other than power them for themselves. Half these psycho billionaires don't even necessarily want humanity to continue. Look at Peter Thiel when he got questioned at. That dude's a freak.
Yeah, you talk about him, and you have Yuval Noah Harari, you have the World Economic Forum, you have their entire group of people that said they wanted to eliminate 95% of the population. In the
Tell you what, let's start with them. You look at old Elon Musk. He wants interplanetary species and stuff, and he's tripping balls on ketamine or God knows what in the White House a while back ago. All these sick freaks kind of end up in the same weird controlling boat. There's too many people. We're building bunker. The hell's wrong with these people? Just be a normal rich guy. Chase some tail. Don't be an asshole. Drive an old Formula One car. Get drunk once in a while. They're not even cool. They're not even cool rich guys. At least Carnegie built us theaters and stuff. What the hell are they doing? Nothing. Anyway, so I think it's a lot like that. But the AI problem is that we're not gonna awaken to anything good. Elon Musk says stuff like, "What questions do you want to ask AI? Oh, what's outside the simulation?"
Well,
dude, just
the AI is not even really AI. It's machine learning, and there's a big difference between the two, right?
I know. I just, these nut job super smart, semi-autistic, whack job billionaires. Damn, what was somebody mean to them when they were little? What did we do?
100% they were mean.
Did we bully them too much or not enough? God damn it, I want to know.
We could actually, you said something interesting. He's like, Joe, this is not rocket science. Just think about the simplest problem, and that's probably what it is, right? Think about it in simple terms, and that's probably what you're dealing with. And we've made stuff so complicated that we just won't press the stop button. Just hey, you know what? I got an idea. Let's stop. Can we just stop that? Just stop. Just stop.
Right. We don't frankly live that long.
No.
Well, what are we gonna fill it with? What are they gonna fill it with? I'm gonna download myself into a computer. Did you ever watch any sci-fi movies?
It didn't end well.
I can't stand the thought of dying. Why? Everybody's done it. Seems like there might be something else there. People talk about that now and then. Well, I'm an atheist. I'm okay, then why do you identify with a religious organization? By the way, I'm not going to say who, but something else I've noticed recently of some of these wildly powerful billionaires and whatnot. Why is it that I see a lot of these powerful figures, whether they're a billionaire or a media talking type person or something, super identify with a religious group of people, yet it's pretty clear they're atheists, or they just say they're atheists? Don't you think that's weird?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about the Satanists too, right? I mean, the fact that
I haven't talked about those people too much because I don't see a whole lot of, or at least
there's a lot of them.
You think?
Oh yes.
In functionality, or in title and functionality?
The title and functionality.
Really? What do you see? What have you seen?
Well, I mean, look, I've been in. I've been in circles where that was almost as big of a cultish deal as you'd see in some religious cults.
Really?
Yeah. It's a much bigger. Now, again, I sniff from the outside to the inside, so I don't get into the fact that they're Satanists or they role playing or any of that stuff. But some of the stuff that they're doing is pretty sick stuff. So I'll look into. I mean, you go. There's an entire section of Reddit that is based off of Satanism.
Imagine there is. I'm pretty boring on the internet. I just look for car parts mostly.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a secret society, much like the Masons and things like that. The Satanists are The synagogue of Satan is a real thing with
Hey,
tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of members in the United States.
Trying to decide if I want to ask this question.
Ask. I don't care.
You ever, aside from the obvious,
Yeah.
did you ever notice there were a whole lot of other groups that our favorite Austrian painter friend didn't like?
Yeah.
By the way, I say favorite Austrian painter friend in a funny way. What were those groups?
They weren't the Satanists.
You sure?
Yeah. Well, I
Interesting.
mean,
What were the other ones?
who are you referring to?
Well, I don't know if it's a conversation, but that's an interesting thing is with stuff, when you look at historical figures all throughout Europe, and obviously I was talking about Hitler in that regard.
Yeah.
It's fascinating because he targeted all kinds of things, including the Masons.
Masons.
Yeah, among other. And it's like, okay, why was he doing that? You know, like, and I just analyze it from a purely tactical sense. Like, why was he after these other things that nobody really talks about anymore now? You know, and
Well, I mean, look, I think that they should talk about some of those things, but it's kind of like it's
well, you can't, because that whole scenario is used for basically only one purpose anymore, is to shut anybody down, specifically so that they can have a most evil figure,
right.
and anything obviously relating to Jewish people. Or it's used by the Allied nations, of course, in Israel, and anybody that Hitler targeted as he's the most evil person. Okay, granted. But why was he going after all these different groups that nobody ever talks about?
So, I mean, look, he went after the Polish too. And then, I mean, there's a lot of people that he went after. He had an agreement not to go after the Catholics because him and the Pope at the time were in bed together. But there was
That's
more
interesting.
than just
That is interesting.
Yeah, there's more than just Jews that were targeted during World War II. They were put in concentration camps. It just is the, you know, and I don't actually want to get into the how many there are, because I don't believe that there were 6 million of them. And if there was, you had nearly 25 million Russians that were killed, and we don't talk about them. So, and they were our ally.
I mean, and those arguments are a no-win scenario because nobody uses any of those talks or any historical things anymore for anything objective. And I kind of regret even bringing it up right now, but I'm just saying, like, you know, we talk about.
Be careful.
We talk about so many groups.
You're a Holocaust denier now. What? Damn it! I can't.
No, I was talking about going after Satanists and or Masons. I thought that was interesting.
Well, I mean, I have friends that are Masons. They're not Satanists.
I didn't.
Right?
I wasn't drawing that connection, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, you have people say it all the time. Oh, Joe, you must be connected to the Masons. I'm thinking to myself, no, I'm not. But you know, I don't. I think what can be used for good can also be used for bad. So.
Well, yeah, and that's why I don't like all these damn billionaires out there. Where are the I want to know. Hold on, this is a good question. Are there any billionaires out there doing anything constructive or good?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, I mean, so I'll go backwards. So I knew of a couple billionaires. One of them passed away. His name was Ed McVaney.
Okay.
And Ed sponsored and built a school called Valor Christian High School. It's the Harvard of high schools in Colorado. Both my kids went to it. And he was probably one of the most amazing men you'll find. I think he was worth $3 or $4 billion. Died of cancer in 2020. Yeah.
I'm listening, by the way. I have to text my wife in the other room. Continue.
Yeah. So he was an amazing man, but he also had the patience of a lit piece of dynamite. Like, he had no patience. Like, it was just a matter of time until he blew up at you. And we would have some great conversations, but he was just a good man. He was just a great man. And when he passed away, it left a huge void, because I don't think that his wife and or his kids carried any of that on to the next level after he died. So
that's an interesting point. Yeah, because usually it's the motivate ones that are doing stuff, and then the second generation always ends up trying to kind of live within the shadow and protect, and the third generation blows it. So I think for any generation, whether you have a business or a massive amount of wealth, you have got to cultivate standards in the next generations, and you've got to have people that you believe are going to see something through and not wreck it. Otherwise, that's how that always goes, man.
Yeah, he was a great man. And there's other people. I mean, I could talk about. I know of one down in Colorado Springs. I know of an entire family in Denver. Just amazing people. And I'm talking like I've had serious conversations with them about even stuff that, I try not to put out on the podcast of my personal beliefs, such as the fact that I don't believe we went to the moon. I still don't believe we went to the moon.
I think it would have been easier to go to the moon than fake it.
You do?
Yeah, I do. Speaking of somebody who builds stuff, I'm not being so arrogant to think that I could build everything, go to the moon, or even do it myself, but I'm saying I think it's easier to go to the moon than fake it.
But back then, was it easier?
They're smarter than we are now. They're way smarter than we are now. We are gutless, unthinking bunch of pussies that can't build anything. I'm just telling you that right now.
Now it would take 7 refuels to get to the moon. So why can't we just use the same technology, repeat it again, and go ahead and drop somebody on the moon? I just don't think we
got the Artemis missions. We're allegedly going to circle around the moon, in a year, and then allegedly land somebody there in a couple?
All right. How long does it take it to get to the moon? Wasn't it like
a couple of days, 3 days? I don't know.
All right. Maybe.
You're denying the moon landing, and Holocaust, and what else are you denying?
Look, we'd sit and have conversations about this and have a little bit of bourbon.
You didn't even use my pronouns today.
What's that? I didn't.
You're denying my true pronouns.
Yeah. Moonwalker?
Dude.
No, I just don't believe it. But anyway, we'll sit around and talk, and these guys are super intelligent, a bunch of tech guys. And I'll say some stuff, and they are very gracious. Either that or they think I'm stupid, but they keep hanging out with me and playing golf with me. So they must think I'm actually a good guy. But we sit and talk, and I'll bring up stuff with them and how they solve problems, but they're very studious. Here's what I notice about good billionaires, right? They don't act like it. They don't act like they're a billionaire.
Yeah, well,
right? They're a regular guy. I mean, Ed McVaney used to drive around in a yellow Volkswagen Bug, like a 2002 Volkswagen Beetle.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that. But where I was going with it is, why are the good billionaires doing anything to combat the sheer amount of bad the evil ones are doing?
No,
I don't feel like it.
No, I don't think they have the capacity to. Frankly,
why not?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. They do things.
Come on in with the bug. Sorry, I'm going to have a little one. Continue. They do things that what? They're sissies.
Yeah. I mean, I would say in large part. Sorry, somebody was outside my office playing with a leaf blower. But I would say that they don't have the stomach for the fight. Oh, hi.
He says, hi, pup. You want to hear too? Okay, here we go.
Here you go. You get to hear me. Hi. How are you? Hi. You gonna wave?
This is my garage buddy. Wave, you silly. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry, you were saying about them?
Well, they just don't have they don't want the conflict. I mean, one of the reasons why some of these people have gotten to the place what they're at is because they were able to they're able to avoid conflict. Right?
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Play politics. Most billionaires in the world were created by the CIA, though. Most of them.
That's quite possible.
So you don't get to that level. They spend a lot of time taking away wealth from people.
They spend a lot of time taking away wealthy people?
They taken away wealth from people.
Oh, that's all there is anymore. Right? Nobody creates anything. That's where it comes from.
So they want to take it away from people who they don't think deserve it, and or want to create institutional and or generational wealth for others.
Correct. So, I mean, look at old Vivek Ramaswamy. That guy appears to make his first $135 million from just a big pharma rug pull scheme. It sure smells like he was manufactured to me.
He 100% was manufactured. Right? He doesn't have a lot of substance, and the way that he talks, he can't answer a question. He is like
he's Kamala Harris. He's a male Kamala Harris.
But smarter.
Yeah, smarter. Yeah. You know, and his college scholarship money was paid for by people with the last name Soros. And people are like, well, it's not George Soros. I'm like, really? Where'd the money come from? Hi. I know, but you can have it in yours. Continue. Sorry.
No, so I look at it. I look at it from the perspective of where we are currently versus where we want to go, and I don't see a way that we get to where we want to go without, frankly,
how about this?
It going to Connecticut.
How about this as a positive note? We'll end on a positive note because I've got females that want to go to dinner.
All right.
Never argue with a woman's stomach.
No, I agree with you.
Is that a thing? Is that a saying? Right? Are you hungry? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So how about if anybody constructively and for the right reasons, metaphorically, walks right out in the open field and says, this is the way it needs to be. This is in it for everybody's best interest. How about we get behind that person and stop being a bunch of cowards?
We tried
and bring
to.
all of our other friends with it.
His name was Donald Trump. I mean, think about what we did. We did that.
Well, let's get to tar and feathers.
No, I just think that he got into a place, and this is me looking at some good people.
Yeah,
I would say that Bobby Kennedy has done some really good on the medical freedom front.
I think so, a little.
Right.
Wait, I need that one, puppy.
And I say, I want that one too. Say hello.
Bobby Kennedy, yeah.
Well, he's great. I mean, he is laser focused. Tulsi Gabbard. But here's the problem. Both of them are Democrats, which then leads you down the path of, all right, so if they're both Democrats, then maybe there's something to this. The idea that they're trained to actually solve problems or to create them.
The Democrats?
Yeah.
Which that leads to another question. Wait, puppy. I'm ruining this for you. Sorry.
That's all right.
So, okay. So it seems like you just said something nice about Democrats. Did I hear that correctly? Or did my little one take the ear out of my head?
No, I did say something nice about Democrats. There are very good Democrats. I'm sorry. I have lots of friends that are Democrats.
100%. You know, and the funny thing is, if their party just didn't have a few idiotic aspects about it, I might think about it. But then again, the Republicans have so many idiotic things about it. I might be thinking about it. So that's why I think we all should think about things right now.
I can't get behind the Democrats, bro. I
got females that want dinner.
Hey, go have dinner. Casey, it was great to have you on. Bye.
Thank you. Be positive, people. Be positive. There's a future. Okay, I gotta go.
See you, brother. I'll talk to you later.
See you, dude.
All right. So Casey's a pretty awesome guy. But what he said is interesting because I get attacked for it all the time. Like, Joe, you have Democrat friends. You can't be friends with Democrats. And I'm going to tell you, you can be friends with Democrats. And frankly, there's a lot of really good Democrats out there. Another thing that he said that kind of shook me a little bit is that we shouldn't debate. We should have a conversation. We should never debate the ridiculous, number one. But beyond, go ahead and we should never debate the ridiculous. And I tell people all the time not to debate the ridiculous, but there's a part of me that gets a little bit enraged because the rage is that, man, people actually believe this stuff and it's harmful. It's doing harm to people. But I try not to. I'm trying to get to a place where I just recognize people for being retarded. But other times I look and I go, well, that's a bot, or this is just one of those creeps that thinks that, I mean, they live on the edge of being just mentally ill. But a vast majority of Democrats and Republicans are completely disconnected with day-to-day politics. And the frenzy that gets created, this wave that gets created, is much, that this happened today and this happened tomorrow. And this is, now somebody got shot on the Capitol, and it comes on the heels of some politician that's, calling for violence or saying that, that the military needs to disobey President Trump's orders. It is all created on purpose. It is theater. And my fear is that we haven't started to kind of get to that place where we recognize what they're doing to us, which is dividing us. So what if we could get to a place where we could just have conversations about what the community needs and not some of the ridiculousness that the left and the right perpetuate? Oh, we're going to be tough on crime. Well, instead of saying you're going to be tough on crime, how about we're going to build and take away, we're going to build into and take away education deserts. We're going to put air conditioning into schools that are, perpetually poorer. We're going to check the teacher salaries, and we're going to get rid of unions altogether inside of schools, because all they've done is just do the slow march through the institutions. Like I don't even, and maybe this is me just simplifying things too much. I don't even believe that it's a communist and socialist issue, because you have people like Jared Polis that's saying, we see President Trump being more socialist. And I'm thinking to myself, the whole country is dealing with a meld of socialism in how we handle things, socialized medical care, but then we let them have capitalist societies over here and how they service it. So you'll have, big pharma and healthcare companies that make record profits, billions of dollars every quarter. So I just think that we are just dazed and confused. We're like, keep getting punched, and we're just trying to figure out how to get out of it. And the more and more we wake up, the more and more we realize that I don't even know fully what the answer is, but I know it's not the answer. And that's what the Democrats and Republicans are both offering. And it's not that I don't support President Trump, because I do. But damn it, I mean, the amount of lawfare that's out there. I mean, Kyle Serafin's the guy that frankly worked with other suspendables and other people to get Kardashian Patel in as the FBI director. And what has he done besides betray the very people that got him there? And it's a perpetual circle. We just keep doing it over and over and over again. So I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know. We're not going to get to the answer tonight. And, I'm glad we got to talk a little bit more, just kind of openly. I didn't even cover any questions really with Casey that I had written down, but it was a good conversation. Let's talk about a few other things if we can. You have, last week we talked about Matt Crane and the article he wrote to Polis to get Tina Peters out of jail. And it was a rejection by the county clerks and recorders that bullied. They are doing everything that the left is. Okay, so most of the county clerks and recorders in the state of Colorado are Republican. And they all stood up against Tina Peters, a 70-year-old Gold Star mom, and says she needs to stay in jail for 9 years. And Matt Crane calls himself a Republican. So this morning I was on Facebook, I put it on a couple other places. I said that, our problem is not the left. Our problem is that the right is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're just terrible human beings. They're just bad people. But you have good people out there that are just led off a cliff, and we have to tolerate it. And you said, Joey, now you're not making friends with the Republicans or the Democrats. I said, well, who am I supposed to make friends with? Make friends with the people that are basically trying to slit the throat of the American people? Nah, I'm not interested. These are county clerks that went against and said, hey, listen, we're going to do everything we can to keep a Gold Star mom in jail, because they don't have compassion. These are people that are Republicans that have no compassion for Tina Peters at all. There was an article from Rocky Mountain Voice that was written. It's Clerks versus the Constitution, why the CCCA's letter to Polis got it wrong. And I have to tell you, this was written by A.L. Goodwin. And he's a guest commentary writer, but he says the Colorado County Clerks Association sent a letter urging Polis to block the potential transfer of Tina Peters to federal custody. That request rests on the unconstitutional assumption and a series of demonstrably false claims made, many of which CCCA Director Matt Crane repeated in his November 24th, 2025 interview on 710 KNUS, spread across 2 morning segments. Let my Tina go, and should Tina Peters be pardoned? Now, I do want to say this before I get any further into this. There's a kid named Jimmy Sangenberger. He's a talented harmonica player. and has desperately tried to become something in the Republican Party. I mean, desperately tried anything he can to create relevance for himself. He's a young guy. He has a radio show on some obscure network, and this kid can't own a gun. Okay, he's been put in a mental institution for being mentally unstable. And the Republican Party thought it was a good idea to raise that guy up and try to make him. Now, he's talked about the fact that I struggle with mental health and mental illness. He still does. But he's one of the people that has gone out and said that Tina Peters should stay in jail. So he wants you to have compassion for him and the fact that he had mental health problems and he's still working through them, but he doesn't want you to have compassion for a 70-year-old Gold Star mom. Here's what was written in here by Goodwin. Tina was not charged until March of 2022, and therefore she had no bond conditions whatsoever in 2021. Tina did travel to Texas, and in August of 2021, due to the threats made against her, not to evade anything, she was fully free to travel, remain reachable, stayed in contact with her staff, and continually performed her duties. Most county offices were still operating under COVID remote work protocols, making her brief travel entirely consistent with normal operations. And the hard facts speak for themselves. Once she was placed on bond, Tina Peters remained fully compliant for 31 months without a single incident or violation. She appealed for everything, met every requirement, and demonstrated the opposite of flight risk behavior. Crane's flight risk narrative is manufactured the whole cloth. It is one of the several false claims now being used to justify suppressing Tina's speech and keeping her incarcerated. Elbert County Clerk Ron Braun publicly rejected the CCCA's position in December 1 letter, arguing it denied the federal transfer based on what Peter may say, violating First Amendment principles. Braun objection directed contradicts the CCCA's rationale, which is rooted in the misconduct but in anticipated speech. In their letter, the CCCA argues that Tina Peters should remain in color custody because they fear what she might say. We're deeply concerned that if transferred, Ms. Peters would continue disseminating the same false narratives. First of all, it's not false. It's completely true. But, never let Matt Crane tell you something that he has created a narrative with to cover up the crimes that were committed by the left. Because I will say this again, it is not just wings of the same bird. It is the same thing. They are the same people. One wears a blue t-shirt, one wears a red t-shirt. When the events in Mesa County became public, clerks in Colorado stepped forward to explain the truth. The system had worked, the safeguards had worked, and Ms. Peters' claims were not accurate. It's just not true. This is open censorship. The CCCA is asking the state to restrict a citizen's liberty based on her viewpoint, direct violation of the First Amendment. This request mirrors the unconstitutional reasoning used at sentencing, which protects political speech when treated as punishable conduct by a judge. Whether the pen or by the sword or by the mouth, you are a danger to society. Judge Barrett at sentencing. Tina's habeas corpus petition is rooted in the clear violation of her constitutional right to free speech. Whether anyone agrees with Tina Peters' view is irrelevant. County clerks demand harsher confinement to silent speech they dislike. It's not only unethical, it may violate 18 Code USC 241, conspiracy against rights. If two or more persons conspire to injure, oppress, threaten, or intimidate any person in the state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district in the free exercise and enjoyment of any right or privilege secured by him by the Constitution or the laws of the United States, or because they have so exercised the same, they shall be fined under the title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. So maybe, just maybe, based on the lies that were done, Mr. President, you can actually just go down there and arrest Matt Crane and throw Matt Crane and the county clerks and recorders in Colorado, throw them in prison. I want to remind all of you that this is something that you should be pushing towards. And you want to know why you should be pushing towards this? It goes on further, by the way. It goes that you start talking about these standards, and he talks about the false claims that Tina is responsible for threats made by others. That kind of straw argument. But if you're going to say that they're operating as a cartel, they decided to come together and go against Tina Peters. They conspired to do that. all based on free speech, and they commit a crime. And we could throw people, what I was going to say is we could throw people in jail for walking on the lawn at the Capitol because they wanted to voice their right to address their grievances, redress of grievances. And you certainly can arrest these people for what they're saying, including Matt Crane and these county clerks. One was arrested for walking on grass. Many were arrested for walking on grass. These people are calling for the suppression and the taking away collectively of rights that belong to Tina Peters. So arrest them. Arrest them and throw them in jail. It's legal. Well, we won't do that because we don't have the stomach for it. We don't have the stomach for doing right by the American people. All right. Let's, if you get a chance to read it, we'll put it up in the comments. You can read the actual article itself. Here's an article by Elon Musk talking about the massive fraud that's happening, aided by state governments themselves. You know, the more and more we get into all the crimes that were committed by people, the less likely you are to see anyone get arrested. Massive fraud is happening, aided by the state government themselves. And it starts talking about not complying with USDA anti-fraud data requirements. 21 states, all blue states, have said they're not going to give that information to the federal government. 29 said that they would. And it's just a way to get to the bottom of how much of our money is going towards. These are SNAP benefits, by the way. How much of our money is going towards illegals. And you're going to find that a vast majority of it is going towards illegals. And we should do something about it. We should be doing something about it. So this is going to happen next week. Starting next week, 21 Democrat-controlled states will lose federal SNAP funding for refusal to comply with USDA anti-fraud data requirements. Let's play it.
We have so much great things to talk about at USDA, but the third thing, which became very much a part of the national conversation during the Democrat shutdown, was SNAP reform, food stamp reform. When all of America saw what so many of us know and have been working on, but when you have so much rampant fraud in a program that 42 million Americans participate in, now big good piece of news that I hope is written about, since you became president, about 800,000 of those 42 million have moved off of food stamps, which is hopefully the plan, with better jobs, higher wages, etc. But still, when we found 186,000 dead people's Social Security numbers being used, 500,000 people receiving benefits more than twice. We had a couple of people receiving benefits in 6 states. In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states, and that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back. So the partnership in Making America Healthy Again is also in food stamps, but a lot of what Bobby and I are doing together is really remarkable. But again, just gratitude and joy.
Gratitude and joy. I would say that most Americans are not feeling gratitude and joy. They're feeling angst about the fact that we spent 4 years talking about stop the steal. Our number one thing was get rid of machines and mail-in ballots. Get us a system that is transparent. In-person, paper ballots. I mean, all the things. And instead, Dominion sells to Liberty, to a guy, and they say, oh, he's Republican. Well, there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats. There's no difference. There's no difference between them. President Trump can't even rein in the people that are the Republicans in office because they're bought and paid for by someone. We haven't figured out who the person behind the curtain is yet, but there's somebody there. And here's another one. Here's Ilhan Omar. President Trump has been going off on the Somalis. Look, you ever seen Black Hawk Down? You need to go watch it. Here's Ilhan Omar, who married her brother to move here, who's committed fraud over and over and over again. They should have just charged and got her out, but they didn't. Here's what she had to say about President Trump.
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic. We know that he called African nations a shithole in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country. And so it is not surprising that he is going after black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a black immigrant community that is also Muslim. But what I would like to say is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says we are nationals of this country. We love that Minnesota has welcomed us. Many of us have not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very welcoming. And we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
I agree. I love the tweet.
Okay, so in thing with that, staying with Minnesota as an example of the priorities that they have for Americans, because she says, we've settled there. There's a Minnesota man, Abdam Hamat, Minnesota man. I want you to see this. He raped a 15-year-old girl at gunpoint and raped another woman he met on Snapchat. Go ahead, play it.
Man out on probation for sexual assault is charged once again. This time, prosecutors say he picked up a woman he met on Snapchat and raped her at a hotel in Bloomington.
Now, prosecutors once called this man an extreme public safety risk, but he never spent a day in prison for his previous crimes. Fox 9's Mike Manzoni joining us from our newsroom now. And Mike, prosecutors signed off on plea deals in these previous cases.
Kelsey and Randy, a judge sentenced the Minneapolis man in those cases back in May, but he got credit for time served, so he never went to prison. It was all part of a pair of plea deals. This is the man we're talking about. His name is Abdemahat Billy Muhammad, but prosecutors say the 28-year-old uses the names Kareem and Altesto on Snapchat, and that is where investigators say he met his latest victim as well as his two previous ones. Prosecutors say he picked up his most recent victim in Mankato back in September, and drove her to a hotel near the Mall of America where he took her phone, told her she wasn't leaving, raped her, and held her against her will for days. That's according to prosecutors. Investigators used DNA to identify Muhammad as the suspect. His profile was already in the database from previous cases involving sexual assaults in Minneapolis in 2017 and another one in 2024. A Hennepin County judge sentenced Muhammad in May in those cases, including one involving a 15-year-old girl. Prosecutors say two other unidentified men took part in that assault, and one threatened the victim with a gun. But Muhammad never spent a day in prison, as we said, because he got credit for time served while awaiting trial as part of a pair of plea deals. We've reached out to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office for comment. A spokesman there told us it is checking into it.
Yeah, checking into it. So the prosecutor in this illegal, who's, by the way, illegal, is Mary Moriarty. Is a prosecutor cut the deal with the rapist. I don't even know what to say about it. I'm good. Take this piece of shit down. That's the problem, is our entire system is rotted and it's designed two dimensions. The American people get charged. Tina goes to jail for 9 years. This guy rapes 3 women, changes the trajectory of their lives forever, and he never spends a day in jail. The American people have had enough. They've had enough. You want to see piss, you're about to see it. I can tell you right now, I believe that it's getting to the point where people like this prosecutor, people like Kyle Clark, people like that commit treason, that basically victimize our society, people are going to turn. They're going to turn. And it is going to get interesting. I want to tell you what else is interesting. Canada created a euthanasia program in 2024. Or in 2024, they had 16,499 people that were killed in Canada's program. I'll just tell you a few of these facts about this. 6.9% was the increase up from the previous year. There were a total of 22,535 requests that were made. Of those, the government granted nearly 75%. Others were either ineligible, died from other causes, or withdrew requests. The program accounts for 5.1% of all deaths in Canada every year. The majority, 95.6% of deaths in 2024 were under Track 1, people who are considered reasonable, foreseeable, terminal illness, comorbidities, things like that. For Track 1, the average age was 78. Track 2, non-terminal but grievous conditions, chronic pain, frailty, neurological diseases. The average age was 75.9. Women made up 57% of Track 2 euthanasia deaths. 85% of the deaths occurred in 3 provinces: Quebec, Ontario, British Columbia. And although annual MAID deaths continue to rise, the rate of growth is slowing. 36.8% jump in 2019-2020 to 6.9% increase from 2023 to 2024. Okay, so I don't know who needs to hear this, but they're saying the quiet part out loud. They're putting stuff in our bodies. They're convincing us that, hey, just pinky swear, if you vote us in, we're going to take care of you. They don't. Nobody goes to jail on the government side. The bureaucrats run the day. Create enough chaos that, frankly, you can't see through it. But at least they can say that violent criminals have been arrested 20% more this year than last year. It's a silly, silly thing. Let's look at some of the comments that you guys have to say. You're going to go eat hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry too. I think I'm going to go eat. Yeah, me too. I think I'm going to go do that. That's a good idea. Hang the effers takes, we're talking treason here. They've allowed foreign actors to overtake our vote. I agree with you fully. Absolutely agree with you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pray it out. If you can hit the up button. I did find out that a vast majority of people are watching it on Rumble. So I'm in the middle of their TV in their living room. So if you're watching me in the living room on the TV, I now have downloaded it on my TV so I can watch some other videos while I'm actually rather than watch TV. So great option. We will be on Roku as well. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. I get a lot of comments from you guys over there. Susan Rice, good to see you. It's really good to see you. Also on Pilled. So I want to give a shout out to the guys over there on Pilled in the bushes. And also, just so you know, we're on the website. We've got a new feature we're going to be adding on the website that will allow you to basically sling it to your TV as well. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's pray it out. Father God, we're just grateful to be here. Father, we're grateful for the opportunities you put in our lives. We're grateful for the things that maybe we just miss that have just been amazing. We know that we really don't have the answers. We know the answers lie with you. I just ask you to give us the strength to fight through these issues that pop up every day, to help restore you to our community and to our country, and to truly just serve you, whatever that means. I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I will see you guys later. I need to go. Talk soon.
Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots Families gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Tame nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong.